Hello there. It's November 11th, 2025. I'm Joe Weston, and we're here for our monthly Global Heart Gathering. And it's really fun. I should actually tape the record the things we say beforehand. It's always fun. In many different languages, we have a good chance to catch up with one another. There's a lot happening in our community, a lot of healing, people going through some different challenges around health, around family. And it's always great to see how we come together and we can support each other. And we do that not just in terms of our personal lives, but we do that in a sense of those who come regularly to hold space together and for one another to help us figure out how we can find our way in this current situation on our planet. It's interesting. I'm going to be giving a talk. I'm in
Thing in
Firenze. I'm
progress.
in Florence. Oh, I'm in Florence. So for many of those of you who are coming on a regular basis, I've taken you around, literally around the world this year, to many different continents. It's been fun for me. I hope it's been fun for you. I get the jet lag, but you all get to experience it that way. And of course, it's always great when people come back on a regular basis, and it's always wonderful when people show up for the first time to share in this experience. And in this talk that I'm going to give tomorrow evening for a group of a women's international group is to really say with this lecture called Fierce Civility, Resilience Training for Body, Heart, and Soul, is to really offer some perspectives on it's becoming clearer and clearer to me what our role can be. And what we're doing here is how do we purposefully stay connected to our authentic selves in a world that is so harsh and hard, where the world system keeps us so dysregulated and so separate and isolated and believing that we have no power. And I talk about this in all of my lectures. So, what can we do at this time to fiercely and actively and skillfully and strategically come back again and again to our authentic selves? And I want to offer this as something to contemplate. What if that was enough of a contribution right now? That, of course, there's plenty. I mean, I've been talking about this now for years, right? We've been doing this now since 2017, first weekly, and then in the last year or two, monthly, with this idea of who are we? What role do we play? And when we see the chaos and we see people who are tremendously suffering and people who don't have the privilege or the opportunity to come to gatherings like this, the luxury, who are just trying to survive, not to get blown up by a bomb or just finding ways to feed their children. And that's many people on the planet right now. The privilege and luxury we have to gather in this way, what role can we play to be of service? And if we're not wired to go out and protest or run for office or get committed to groups, and we're not wired that way. I mean, there are people in our community who are part of networks now in the United States that they get a text. Sometimes this is in parts of Washington, D.C. and in LA and other parts of the country. They get a text that ICE has shown up somewhere and they all go running and do whatever they can to step into their protector role in a nonviolent way, fierce way, in a supportive way, whatever is needed at that moment. We may not all be wired to do that, but in a world where the world system is doing such a good job of keeping us in this, as a bully online or in our personal lives, or feeling or passive and feeling like we can't do anything. What if the most revolutionary thing we can do right now is stay connected to our authentic selves and move through the world from there? It sounds romantic. It sounds really maybe easy. And it's a lot of work. For me, it's a lot of work, moment to moment, as I engage with various people in different cultures, people with different beliefs. And I believe that is the work. And what I've been saying since 2017 is what we're doing here with this global heart gathering is we're here to support each other And we're here to train ourselves to be what I call midwives. You've heard me say this many times. Midwives for a system that's dying away, so death doulas, and midwives for a system that is emerging, that has been emerging, and that maybe hasn't been getting enough coverage from the media because it's not so sexy yet. And corporations can't profit from it. But there are so many movements happening around the world that there's something being birthed. And who are the people on the planet that can hold the center? And I'm not talking politics. I'm talking literally your own inner center. To walk into a community and be the central sun for that community, to be a refuge for that community, to be a soother for that community, to be a nurturer for that community, to be a protector and maybe even a transformer. And that is quite a remarkable practice. And for me, how I would interpret that is that it means, what does it mean to continue to anchor, to access and anchor the power of our heart, the transformational power of the heart, to occupy here. Imagine a planet of everyone doing that. And if you actually take a moment, if you feel like it, just for the fun of it, while you're going for a run or taking a shower, or whatever you do, to just consider what I've just said. And I'm not saying that what I'm saying is special in any way, but what I've said is actually the essence of all spiritual practice, all esoteric traditions. Yes, even Christianity will tell you these things. In all aspects, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, and various different traditions. What they are blueprints for us as human beings to walk the planet as our best selves. And that has always, I believed. Now, history, of course, is subjective, right? So I look at history, I choose to receive the information from history in a way that satisfies my story. And that's what we all do, unfortunately. And in my story, if I look back at history, that the moments where human beings have evolved the best and the quickest and the most strongest has been when we've learned to cooperate. And where we've learned to not only take care of ourselves, but take care of others. And work on our own inner work. And what I call that I mentioned in Fierce Civility, to live into the principles of what I call our 5 highest core human principles of respect, dignity, belonging, freedom, and collaboration. And those are all qualities of the heart. And I'm getting more and more affirmations. I'm now, like I said, I've been around the world in different continents. And even when I was at Castel Gondolfo, as I mentioned last time, listening to the new Pope speaking, and most of his message was, we have to return to the heart. It's in the heart where we find our authentic selves, our authentic desires. It's the softening of the heart that brings us into more alignment with nature and with the suffering of others. So what does that mean to come into our hearts? And that is, and for those of you who know me, that's the work I do as the heart walker, and offering fierce and courageous ways of living into the embodied state of what it means to be in the heart. And you can see it happening, because what we're seeing, what the Pope also said, is that we have to see that data and information aren't going to solve our world problems. Creating a culture of care will. We see it that what really moves people is when we can appeal to their hearts, not to their intellect. Nothing wrong with intellect. There's nothing wrong. And again, I say that the ailment of the global heart is that it's technologically overfed and spiritually malnourished. The problem is the imbalance in the diet, not that one is better than the other. At this moment, we have such technological advances. Our technology could actually solve all the problems on the planet. Technology is not bad. But because we're technologically overfed and spiritually malnourished, we're putting those technologies to things that are really not serving human beings. So the idea is not to get if someone were to say, if your heart was not well, a heart doctor, they wouldn't say, they might say, stop eating certain foods, but they would say, get a balanced diet. So we don't need to get rid of technology. We need to be in an alignment with a balanced diet of technological nourishment and spiritual nourishment. And that spiritual nourishment is the nourishment of the heart, humanity, connection, compassion, respect, dignity, freedom, belonging, cooperation. And that's what leads to healing, conciliation, new alliances, and ultimately new resilient solutions that can take root and actually solve some of our world problems. Now, I want to just share, I've been thinking, this is something I've been teaching for years in my trainings about what does it mean to be open-hearted. I feel like now is a good moment to bring it up, and I want to take it into our practice, which we do. Tracy, it's so good to see you. Thanks for being here. It's really lovely to see you. And Elizabeth, it's wonderful to see you. And Martin from Paris, it's good to see your name. And Ellie, and then all of you, and all the familiar ones. And um, Jaloki, I'm probably not saying that right. Welcome, welcome. So you all know what I say about this idea of open-heartedness, because that's what I'm advocating for. The solution is not, hey, there's Martin. Good to see you. And nice to see you, Jaloki. Very nice to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. You pronounce
Where are
my name
you?
very well.
Oh, I do. Okay. Where are you at this moment on the planet?
I am in Costa Rica. I am of Haitian origin,
Okay.
and I spent some of my life in the US.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, welcome. It's good to have you. Claudia is kind of nearby. I think she's in Guatemala and doing remarkable work. Yeah. Claudia says yes. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. So, what if it is that simple? Let's just pose that. That the answer to our problems is learning how to live in our hearts, to occupy here, and from there, harnessing that power and like I said, resolving, softening other people's hearts so that we can come into alignment and we can solve our problems. I've been saying this more and more recently is to remind ourselves, particularly those in America, but also in Europe and probably other cultures, that if you think about it, just 15 years ago, we could sit at the Thanksgiving table or at the dinner table with distant relatives. And even though we had political views, we can still have a good time with each other. We can still love each other. So I'm bringing that up not just as a simple thing. I'm saying that to really say there's something powerful in this. It's a choice what we're doing now. It's a mental construct what we're believing now. And because we created that mental construct, we can change that mental construct. We can remind ourselves that it wasn't always like this. And since it's impermanent and wasn't always like this, we can find a way of making it different. That's where we have power. It's not fixed. It's a recent phenomenon that we think it's so, when we are so caught up in the dysregulation and in the polarization, we think it's always been like this, but it hasn't. So what does it take for us to move through the world with an open heart? At work, in the streets, at the supermarket, with your family? Now, I clarify, and this is the teaching I want to offer just very quickly and take it into our practice, is that I'm not advocating that we walk around with an open heart all the time. That's just violence to yourself. And unfortunately, because we're so wired to think in a polarized way that when someone posits an idea, we might immediately go to this or that. And many of us, because we didn't take the time to think about it, think that having our hearts open means it has to be totally open. And that's not true. It doesn't have to be totally open, because the problem with that polarized thought is that it leaves you with very little options. And the only options are your heart's totally open, which means within 4 minutes you walk on the streets anywhere in 2025, and you'll just be a mess within 4 minutes. Unfortunately, if you choose not to do that, if you only have two options, the only other option is to close your heart. So I think that's what we're seeing is people just out of necessity almost are choosing to close their hearts, to harden their hearts as a survival mechanism. And what I suggest in that is that when our hearts, we think we have two choices with a heart being on and off. It's like having an on-off switch in your house. And I say it's time for an upgrade. Get rid of the on-off switch and move to a dimmer switch. It's with a dimmer switch that you find your power. There's personal agency in that. You get to choose in any moment if your heart is open, and if it's open, how open it can be. And for me, when I'm training people in this, and we'll do this in our practice, for me, there's an important correlation that the ratio of how open your heart is must be equal to how safe you feel in that moment. Because many people cause themselves trauma, or if trauma is forced upon them, when they feel they have to open their heart in a situation that's not safe or dangerous. And then we begin to think like, oh, I'll never do that again. But imagine if you had the skills and the training to be so present that in every moment you're feeling into your body and determining how safe do I feel in this moment. And that if you can determine that, and I use a percentage from 0 to 100, that at this moment, just take a moment now, feel into your body. How safe do you feel in this moment? Could be 30%, could be 98%, could be 42%. There's no right answer. And this is an important point to make. The only person who can determine how safe you feel in any given moment is who? Is you. No one can determine for you. And the invitation here with the dimmer switch is to say, okay, if I check in with myself and I feel 42% open, safe in this moment, then I will give myself permission to open my heart at this moment, 42%, no more. And I could be with a group of people and my heart can be open 42%, and I can feel, I've been doing this long enough to feel what that feels like. What I notice is that when my heart is open, it already impacts and triggers others to drop into a deeper level of softening and safety and trust, which opens their heart. That's the magic of this that we're talking about. Even enemies, you might perceive as enemies. They don't have to know you're doing it. But when I can feel I'm radiating my heart energy, I can already see that there's a shift in them. And if I'm sitting with a group of people and my heart's 42% open and we're hanging out and we're opening into deeper connection, I can open it to 61%. And if someone says something or gets activated in a way that frightens me a little bit or makes me uncomfortable, I can consciously choose, okay, I'm going to dial it down to 15%. No one knows I'm doing this. But this is, I think, the most powerful self-care tool you can do, as well as the most powerful tool you can do to have an impact on the planet. Because here's the thing. Even if my heart is 1% open to somebody, it's still open. And if my heart is 1% open for someone that I consider perhaps an adversary, then I've just increased the possibility of us finding reconciliation by 1%. It's a start, and it has to start somewhere. So I think it's a fun practice, especially for those of us, if you're like me, where my mind's all over the place. It's a great way to keep me focused. That when I'm driving or when I'm with a group of people, I can just be constantly checking in. And I've trained myself to do that, to just know where I have to go to listen to my reptilian brain or whatever part of me that determines how safe I feel. My core, my center for me. And that's already a practice. I've already increased my level of confidence and safety in the world and trust of others by doing that. Then the next step is how much impact each of us could have by trusting that we can radiate out our heart energy and that whether we see it concretely or not, it's having a positive effect. It sounds simple, and it is. But I've been saying this for years because I've worked with, conflict zones. I've worked with government agencies. I've worked with various different companies, and they often say, "Oh, our problems are far too complicated for that to be the solution, Joe." It sounds very naive to me. And I would say, thank you for sharing your truth and your viewpoint. And I would say that, yes, the problems can be complex, but I don't believe we can solve complex or complicated problems with complicated solutions. It just adds more complication. The problems are complicated and complex. The solutions are really simple. Implementing the simple solutions is hard work because we may not, in the end, there's still that part of us that likes to think, oh, it's got to be complicated. It's got to be hard work. It's only worth something if I've suffered, right? Does anybody resonate with that? That to be able to say it can't be that simple. And the only way to know is to try it out. When the next time you're with a group of people, just play with that. Just check in, how safe do I feel? And therefore really pump up the volume of your heart. Turn up that dimmer switch and just notice what happens. First, notice what happens for you.
Hmm.
Then the longer you do that, you'll see the ripple effects of that. Does anybody have like a quick comment before we take this into our practice? So we start with a talk and then we bring that into our practice. Um, Hank is asking a question, or you only have to realize maybe is the other one right? Even when the other is not, in your eyes, you can stay curious to their ideas. Yes, Hank, that's a practice of curiosity and compassion. That's the antidote that I talk about in Fierce Civility of overcoming judgment. And they may not be right, but it does, but I think the point, if I may interpret what you're saying, it's not a question of right or wrong. We've discussed that many times. It's more a question of, um, regardless of what they're saying, there's got to be some truth in it. Or there's got to be something in it that I can learn about them. And am I willing to do that work? Anybody want to just quick comment? Ali?
Yeah, I think just one thing I was reflecting on with that about the percent my heart is open is that at best, like particularly when I'm, have a role in a community process, or actually lots of the time, I sort of feel like I ought to have my heart really wide open. Like I mean, to the degree where I don't think I'm always caring for myself. So I'm hearing what you're saying, but I have this belief like I need to do it. I want this world, I want life to be joyful or to have shining and radiance. So I'm just noticing that kind of it's going to maybe take me a bit of time to follow what you're suggesting, Joe, because it's kind of quite I don't know, a strong belief like, hey, this feels all a bit shut down and gray. I've got to shine. I've got to shine. But I think I'm kind of burning myself up a little bit with that.
You just said it though. You just said the answer. So that would be fun for you to practice, Ali, and I would love to hear your if you want to talk about it. I would suggest that what you do is practice, and that my guess is I don't know you that well, but what I do know of you, I would say that your 20% heart open is already more loving and joyful and powerful than 7 billion people on this planet, if not more. Oh, you don't want to believe me when I say that. So I'm just offering that as a possibility, right?
Yeah, yeah,
To just
yeah.
consider, what if your 20% is already the very thing that you think you should be?
Yeah, and I think what's really helpful about what you're saying is, like you said, even if your heart is open 30% or 20%, it still could bring a positive effect, for people. So if I could shift my belief to that, because what happens is I feel when I'm out, I'm like trying to do 100% or 110%. And when I'm at home, like I'm crashing. And what I'm giving to myself is quite a dark realm. And that's like actually, who knows what more I could do and how more good life could be if I could balance it a bit and not be 110 to 0 all the time. I mean, it's back to your kind of black and white thing. So yeah, I'll take something to experiment with.
Yeah, please do, because I think from what I'm hearing you saying, you'll conserve a lot of energy, and it's a self-care practice.
Mm-hmm.
And here's something also to consider for all of you. No one deserves your 100% open heart. They need to earn it. And if they haven't earned it, they don't deserve your 100%. And the only people, and I would say, save your 100% for trees and birds and your four-leggeds, right?
Children?
Well, I don't know. Chill could be. I don't trust all children, but yeah. I just think it's a question to say that it's also a false idea. That's a lot of conditioning for those of us who are caregivers. These people haven't earned our 50%, let alone 100%. So think about that give them only what they've earned. And there might be moments when they get your 100%. They should be on the ground with deep gratitude to you for that,
Mm-hmm.
that you are willing to offer that gift to them. Yeah, let's take a
Yeah.
breath. All right, let's take it into our practice. Unless someone has a burning thing to share, I'd rather take it into our practice. And then, Jean, did you have something you wanted to say? I saw you getting activated there.
Yeah, just quickly, it's sort of tagging on to Ali's points and concerns. I find what you just said to us to be a huge relief because I'm very self-judgmental. And you once called me too kind. I'm doing the queen of kind. I'm always trying to be kind to people. But this is a really excellent way to protect yourself without tuning out the other person or persons. And I always thought, okay, I'm open-hearted to this, but I'm closed-hearted to that. This is a wonderful way to sort of make that like a gradient kind of heartedness, if I can say that.
Cool. Beautiful. Yeah, let people work for it, for our heart and our gifts and our best selves. And when they do, then reward them. Well, it's that simple. And again, everyone is rewarded, and everyone benefits, and everyone grows, and everyone is healed, and everyone is transformed and enlightened in that moment. Because that's what we are seeing, right? We're seeing all the caregivers, all the people who do social justice workers who I work often with, and all of that. They are all the people working for the UN, all the people working in all these humanitarian organizations and nonprofits burning out. So Ali, I'm so grateful, and Jean, that you brought this up. It's a pandemic, and it's a system that feeds on that, in a sense, that knows they're hiring the people who will say, oh, okay, I am totally burnt out. Claudia, you could talk to us about that. But I have to keep going. I have to keep giving. It's just a belief. It's another mental construct that we can change today if we want to. And this is just, again, it's not a polarizing shift. Like I'm never going to, Claudia says, absolutely. I'm never going to open my heart again or be generous again. I'm just going to continue to do what I'm doing. I'm just going to do it in a way that also takes care of me and also calls people into taking responsibility and, again, earning what you have to offer. Okay, let's do the practice. So as always, we take the teachings or we take the discussion into our practice. The practice is the same we do. We just add different themes to it. And this is a practice in cultivating resilience and fierce compassion. Midwives. For a system that's death doulas, for a system that's dying away. Midwives for a system that's birthing. So there's no right way to do this or wrong way to do this. It's about finding your way. Before we start, for those of you who have never practiced with me before, I use a concept that's very important for a lot of my traditions that I've done, various traditions, of contacting your core, your center. Many of you already know this from other traditions, but in terms of this practice, for me, the way I learned it is that your core is in your lower belly, approximately the width of 3 fingers below your navel and a third of the way into the body. So if you put your fingers together like this, you place your index finger over your navel, where your pinky resides, that's approximately the width of 3 fingers below your navel. Shelley, I'm not sure what hand you're doing if you're practicing with that, but I'm sure you already know this. Shelley is doing some deep healing with one of her wings, and we'll send some of our energy, loving energy and healing energy to her. So the width of 3 fingers below your navel and a third of the way into your body. So when we get to that, I'll clarify that again. So sitting in a way, what I call power sit, where you can have the most balance and flow in your system. For us, the definition of resilience that we use is a combination of presence, awareness, balance, and flow. So by sitting in this houding, in this posture, we allow the system to cultivate the most balance. So sitting with your spine straight without being rigid, elongating even from the back of your neck up to the top of the head, so you're tucking your chin in a little bit. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders, relax your belly. Power sit. From this posture, bring your attention to your core and your lower belly, the width of 3 fingers below your navel or a third of the way into your body from the front of the body. Bring your full attention to that spot. I would call it your center of gravity, creativity, gut wisdom. Personal power. And it is your center of awareness. According to Taoist principles, it is in your center, your lower dantian, where you perceive reality. Your heart, to the middle of your chest, is where your consciousness, your mind resides. And your brain is simply the transmitter of information in and out. Cultivating a deeper level of awareness from your center. And in this moment, from your center, become aware of your contact points, the parts of your body that are connecting with the chair, with the cushion, with the ground. Really feel the communication happening with those parts of the body and the ground and the chair. The sensation of the gravity bringing those parts deeper, pressing against what's under you. And the longer you do this, you begin to pick up the signals from the neuroceptors in these points of stability under you. That information rushes up to your brain through the nervous system. The brain picks up the message stability, and if allowed, activates the proper hormones to allow you to relax and be held. What a tremendous gift to offer yourself, to allow yourself to be held. Maybe if this is part of your worldview, the chair, the ground represents Mother Earth herself, feeling the sacredness of the land under you. The history, billions of years of history of the land under you, all those who've inhabited it, loved it, stewarded it. Remembering that Mother Earth doesn't discriminate, she holds each one of us equally. Let yourself be held. Now using this practice to come more into the present moment, bringing your awareness more into the present moment, beginning with yourself. So from your center, become aware of your physical self. What is the process of, from your center, opening your awareness of what's happening within your body? Learning the vocabulary of the body, which is always communicating with you through sensation, heart rate, depth of breath, temperature, tension, relaxation, tingling, all vocabulary. Learn the vocabulary. Allow yourself to experience the sensations. From your center, become aware of your emotional body. What emotions are you present to? Without judgment, simply dissecting and analyzing and sensing which emotions are most prevalent on the surface. And with a sense of spaciousness, giving them permission to flow. No story, no judgment. From your center, become aware of your mental body, your thoughts. The quality of your thoughts more than the thoughts themselves. Really clarifying and feeling the part of you in your core, your awareness that's observing your thoughts. Staying connected to your core is the foundation of the practice. Now bringing awareness to your heart center in the middle of your chest, where your heart power resides. Compassion, respect, connection. Your highest values, your authentic self. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of that part of you which has access to something larger than yourself. What that might be, that which is larger than yourself, is up to you. Could be something spiritual, could be humanity, the universe. But in this moment, from your heart and your core, connecting to that part of you which always, on some level, has the possibility of having access to something larger than yourself. And what is that connection in this moment? Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. And as you stay connected with your heart and your personal power and your core, feeling the power of the earth under you and that which is larger than yourself flowing through you from above, allow that to expand out into your personal space, stretching out to the very ends of your own personal boundaries in all directions, filling up your personal boundaries, your personal space, behind you, above you, below you, left and right. And with this sense of a self, of who you are in this moment, from your center and from your heart, take a deep, full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And building on this present moment, staying connected to this sense of yourself in this moment. Now expanding that by from your center and from your heart, becoming aware of your surroundings, outside of the personal space, your immediate surroundings, in all directions, placing yourself in the center of your surroundings, considering how your surroundings might be influencing you in this moment, considering the beautiful, sacred acupuncture point you are holding at this moment on this planet. And with this awareness of self and your surroundings from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in. Again, building and expanding on your awareness of this present moment, staying connected to yourself and your surroundings. Now from your center and from your heart, become aware of those human beings who are currently in this meditation circle, holding space with us. Either here online in the World Wide Web, or those who couldn't make it but are still holding space with us where they are. In various parts of North and Central and South America, various parts of Europe and other parts of the world. What does it mean to connect with this group of people from your personal power and from your heart, and to receive them from your personal power, from their personal power, their heart? And how does that impact you? And with that awareness of self, surroundings, and those in this meditation circle, once again, take a full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And now we continue our practice. We're practicing the idea of stretching our heart muscle to do it in a way that still is powerful and strong without us tearing a muscle or burning ourselves out. So now maintaining connection with yourself, your surroundings, and those in this meditation circle as support. From your center and from your heart, become aware of all human beings, beginning with those human beings that you would label loved ones. Surprise yourself in your analysis of this. Who arises in your heart that you would consider loved one? How many loved ones can you hold in your heart in this moment? There's no right answer. This is not an exam. We're not going for medals. It's a practice. What feels right for you in this moment? How many loved ones can you hold in your heart? And I invite you to choose one of those loved ones. And as you stand face to face with them, this practice of every time you engage with someone, from my personal power, my core, to your personal power, your core, from my heart to your heart. You don't know why you chose this person, doesn't matter, but just stay with them for a moment and just determine in this moment as you stand face to face with them, how safe do you feel with them? And therefore, based on that, can you either turn up or turn down your dimmer switch according to how safe you feel with them in this moment? Make sure you're breathing as you do this. Deep breaths in through your nose, always in through your nose and out through your mouth. Steady breaths, allowing energy to flow, emotions to flow. And what is that sensation of pumping up the volume of your heart energy, if that's appropriate? And imagine in your mind's eye that if you are increasing the level of open-heartedness just for the practice of stretching that muscle, noticing the impact it could be having on them. So if you're at, let's say, 70%, maybe you can say, I want to stretch it to 75 and see what happens. Practice. So give yourself a number right now, having done this practice so far with loved ones, and particularly one loved one, a number of how open your heart is in this moment. And I invite you now from your center and from your heart to become aware of those human beings you would label strangers. And who arises in your heart. And what does that do to your dimmer switch? To your level of safety? Do you need to calibrate? How many strangers can you hold in your heart at this moment? That could be a neighbor, could be someone you saw in the supermarket, someone who cut you off on the highway, groups of people that you read about who are hungry or suffering from hurricanes, could be anyone. How many of the probably close to 8 billion strangers on this planet can you hold in your heart right now that feels right for you? And how does that influence your level of open-heartedness, your percentage? I invite you to choose one of those strangers, and as much as possible to actually see a face, a gender, if they have a gender, age, standing face to face. And in this moment, from your center, from your personal power, connecting with their personal power, from your heart, connecting with their heart. And just feeling into how safe you feel and how open is your heart at this moment. Take good breaths and let the feelings flow, the emotions flow, staying engaged with them in your mind's eye. And determine if you want to dim your heart power at this moment, go lower, or you want to practice going a little higher. What would that be like? Surprise yourself. How does it impact them? And now registering how open your heart is in this moment, and we move on to the third classification that we practice every week, every session, is from your center and from your heart, become aware of those human beings you would label adversary. And instantly feel, be surprised who arises in your heart. What faces do you see or groups of people? How many adversaries can come up in your heart right now? And notice what it does to your level of open-heartedness and safety. And be honest. You're not being evaluated. You're not being judged. You're building a relationship with your own open-heartedness, your own level of safety. And calibrate your level of open-heartedness as you choose one of your adversaries. Make it a juicy one if you want. As you stand safely, safe to face, at the proper distance, face to face with them. From your core, if possible, engaging with their core, from your heart, engaging with their heart. Notice what that does with you. Notice if your breathing has gotten shallow or stopped. If your level of your physical state of being has shifted, or your emotional state of being, your judgment. Calibrate. Breathe deeply. And play a little bit to see, is it possible actually maybe with this person, if my heart is open 1%, can I maybe do 2%? Like you would do in any practice. You'd stretch yourself a little bit, not too much, but you just raise the level of stress appropriately. Notice how it impacts you. Notice how it impacts them. Surprise yourself. Allowing energy to flow, emotions to flow. And in essence, now holding all human beings in your heart with this level of sense of clarifying for yourself, I have agency over how open my heart is with every single being on this planet. And just imagine them actually doing a little bow and honoring you for that. And with this awareness from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And with this deeper understanding now of all human beings, understanding the power, the personal agency of open-heartedness, allow all human beings to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to those in this meditation circle. And just recognize how open your heart now is with those of us who are gathering together to do this practice. Allowing those in this meditation circle to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to your surroundings. Noticing how open your heart is now as you Your awareness is with what's around you. Allow your surroundings to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to yourself. And take a moment from your center and from your heart to connect with yourself. And maybe just a little message to yourself of something like, wow, my heart is precious. And people have to earn the right to experience it. And as a way to close this practice, allow all the energy you've generated from this practice to flow into every cell of your body, activating your cells, enlivening your cells. Allowing the energy of this practice to flow into all of your organs, to heal your organs, to nurture your organs, parts of your body that are going through healing or have just gone through a rigorous healing or about to go through a rigorous healing. Allow the benefits of this practice to flow to those parts of you with love. Anchoring this in your nervous system, the experience of this practice, so that you can cultivate muscle memory more quickly. And as a way to close this practice, let's take a deep final breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Very slowly open your eyes, look around the room, stretch your body, shake your body a little bit. Look into all the little squares. What I always do when I look into the squares, it just triggers in my heart a lot of gratitude and appreciation. And receive that. Okay, so we started with a motivation. We did our practice. Now we have a chance, a few minutes to reflect before we do our dedication. And I want to make a couple of announcements. Anybody want to share what was came up for you? Challenges, discoveries, wisdoms? I'm appreciating all the four-leggeds who, of course, are showing up. Mohan, thank you. So Tori's four-legged. Love that.
Well, I like to share a small experience. 2 weeks ago, I had a surgery. I had to stay a day in hospital, and I was not afraid. I didn't had any fear, but the whole constitution in a hospital is fear, fear, fear. So I meditated before I went to the hospital, and every time when I heard to someone else, "Are you afraid of the surgery? Are you afraid? Are you afraid?" I thought, oh, well, that's your fear. That's not my fear. And I could stay right in the middle, and I had a beautiful day. Could talk with everyone and in a nice way, and I really loved all the people who were working in the hospital. They were very friendly, and all the fear, I thought, you can keep it away, not my fear.
Mm.
And that gave me a beautiful day. And I think I recovered very quickly. I think that's one part of why I recover so quickly. So I learned a lot from you, Joe.
As I learn a lot from you, dear one. Thank you. Thank you. You are one courageous being. One of many. Thank you. Veronique, nice to see you for the last few minutes. It's good to see your face.
Good to be here. I thought we were starting in 5 minutes, so it seems that my calendar, anyways, sorry and disappointed, but happy at the same time. Very strange.
Glad you're here. That's to be just part of this. Thank you. Anybody who's here for the first time maybe want to share? Call you out. You don't have to.
Sure. I have to limit myself because I can stay hours here in just expressing gratitude and admiration. Something that, so my name is Jaloki. I'm Haitian, currently based in Costa Rica. And something that came to my mind when, Joe, you were talking about the percentage of heart opening and how safe I feel, and so I can adjust, talking about the dimmer. And one of the things I do in my several lives is cultural orientation, consulting, etc. And as a Haitian, and because of other things in my life, I'm often at the juncture between cultures.
Yeah.
And in particular, the Eastern, Western, and the difference and the connection between what we call the global North and the global South, or more modern and indigenous.
Yeah.
And one thing, and as you say, very simple, it may sound naive. One thing that exists, that is a value in many, to simplify, I'm going to say, culture of the global South, that is less valued in the culture of the global North, is greetings. Saying hello, saying good morning. And in many cultures in Africa, in Asia, in Central and South America, people spend a lot of time saying, oh, how are you doing? How is family? And even repeating, how are you doing? How are your children? How is family? And people from, the US and Europe, this is not, it's a waste of time. And even for people with a good heart, for example, who want to work more on cooperation and collaboration than competition, okay, hi, let's get to business. Well, what is happening, what I'm teaching people is what is happening in that waste of time, saying hello, good morning, how are you doing, etc., it's a connection, but the connection is not all, okay, we love each other, we're connected, it's all heart to heart, etc. It's also an assessment. I want to connect with you. I want to connect my vibration with your vibration, but at the same time, I want to know when we are compatible and when we are not, because I need to protect myself too from yourself, and you need to protect yourself from myself. And we do that in complete respect. It's we're not gonna fight, but there's some vibration, some frequency, some places where, okay, we're not connecting there, but the others we can connect, and when we are aware of that, we can actually increase the zones where we can connect. So I felt an analogy, a connection between what you were saying about, okay, how much can I open to this person, and this value, this habit that we have, that it's like it's second nature for us. It's not even, we don't have to think about it, but for other people, sometimes you have to learn that. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Jaloki. I appreciate that. Appreciate giving it that context, and I feel your wisdom and your experience in that, and I feel very grateful. And there's a power in saying, from my personal power, I connect with your personal power. Because in a sense, what that's saying is I honor your power. And I come with you from my personal power, not with aggression, but with the right amount of assertiveness. And from my heart to your heart, I honor your heart. Yeah. I know that from a lot of the traditions I've studied and cultures I've worked with, so I understand that. So thank you for bringing that in. I appreciate that. We are a little over time, so if you have more comments you want to say, please feel free to get in touch with me. And then you can also, because I'm hoping you'll be coming next month, you'll be able to share more next month if you have other comments. But I want to just say a couple of things, a couple of announcements. We do this every second Tuesday of the month. It's 1 hour a month. Put it on your calendar. We really see the benefits when people show up over and over again. You can see the quality of communication and holding space with one another, even if you come for 5 minutes. We can feel your power, Veronique. So thank you for being here. So please come back again. Please tell others about this if you know people who resonate. Please get in touch. For instance, since I don't know you, Jaloki, I'd love it if you want to get in touch. I'd love to have a conversation with you or anyone else. You know, I always say that I'm available. Here are some links. I offer this free, but if you want to make a donation, you're more than welcome to. It goes to the Fear Civility Project, where we try to advocate this kind of work throughout the world, of building bridges and healing communities and division and polarization. I want to say it's the beginning of November. Holiday times are coming for most Northern global people. And so if you see the link, you could purchase a book not only in English, but in Italian as well. And I think it's a time for all of us to have an Occupy Here t-shirt. Let's create the movement. This is a great holiday gift, particularly for your uncle who you have a challenge talking to.
And there's so many different colors.
And there's
Just
so many
right.
different colors. Yes. So you got the link there as well. These are, I'm just suggesting, great holiday gifts if you don't know what to get people. And you can get on our mailing list. You can see here there are other links as well. So once again, I'm grateful. Let's just take a moment to dedicate the energies we've created. Martin, it's good to see you. I'm glad you managed to find your way after work to be here. It's good to see you. Yeah.
Thank you.
And those who came late, it's great that you show up. It doesn't matter if you're at the top of the hour. We just start and you jump in because I believe your heart was already with us at the top of the hour. So when you show up on the World Wide Web is just another added benefit that we get to see your glorious, beautiful face. So let's take a moment to dedicate these energies to those who are struggling with their heart in a hard-hearted world, trying to find their way and find their voice and their authentic selves. May some of this energy touch them to find their power and their authentic selves. To those of us, for you or for those you know who are going through a healing process, whether that's physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual, may some of this energy bring soothing and healing to them and to you. All the endeavors that you're working on, may they flourish with ease. All the people that you are benefiting, may it increase exponentially. And for those who are committed to a more equitable, peaceful, non-polarized world, may they find the energy to keep going, sustainability and longevity. And may all governments on this planet govern from love and wisdom and compassion as opposed to fear and greed. Okay, thank you all. Very good to see you. Take care of yourselves. Send me reports.
Grazie, Joe.
Thank you.
Grazie.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Merci. All of that.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye, Joe. Thank you.
Bye-bye.